Greetings. This is Hampshire. Often associated with the middle class, which carries with it the stereotype of a certain level of blandness, Hampshire is often maligned as a rather dull county. And starting in the north, that reputation is well earned, with dreary commuter towns like Basingstoke, Farnborough, Hook and Aldershot. The south is where people go to have fun. You can take or leave Southampton, but Portsmouth has its exciting seafront and the massive dickwave they call the Spinnaker Tower. Dotted around this are picturesque little gems. We've already met Totton, but there's also Lymington, Hayling Island and Leon Solent. But sitting in the middle of all this is the wonderful city of Winchester. Founded by the Romans as Venta Belgarum, meaning meeting place of the Belgi tribe, and actually dating back even further than that, Winchester has so much history I can't cover it in such a short video. Unlike its near neighbour Salisbury, there's a lot more to the city than just the cathedral. In the early days of Roman Britain, Winchester emerged as a capital city of Wessex, taking over from nearby Silchester. But by the 4th century, the Roman Empire was on the brink of collapse. Then the Christians came along and built this bloody great thing. Started in the 11th century and finished in something like the 16th, Winchester Cathedral does charge an entry fee, and it cost me £14 to bring you these shots, so you better be bloody grateful. King Knut, read that carefully, Alfred the Great and Jane Austen were all buried here. And here is Alfred the Great, well, the back of him anyway. He tore up the Roman plans for the city in favour of a grid pattern, which makes Winchester rather easy to navigate. It's an absolute bugger to drive around, especially on a Saturday, but we can't blame him for that, can we? But as you'd expect, this is one of the most desirable cities in England to live in, and you do well to find a decent house for less than £300,000. Amanda Holden, Jack Dee, Colin Firth and Wayne Bridge all have links to the city. This is the River Itchen, and up the road is this stunning watermill. Well, I'm itching to see the game, so let's get to the ground and meet the teams. The City Ground, not to be confused with the bigger one in Nottingham, has one of those modern 3G pitches and a bloody great metal lamppost blocking my view of the halfway line. Winchester City compete in the Southern League Division 1 South, which is down at level 8, and their history bears some relation to other clubs of a similar stature. Many years competing in local Hampshire leagues, a couple of promotions, a bit of investment, etc, etc. Winchester won the FA Vase in 2004, beating AFC Sudbury in the final. A year later, their opponents today won the same competition, beating the same team. Didcot is, shall we say, not blessed with the same good fortune as Winchester. It's saying something when a modern art sculpture outside of Curry's is chosen to represent the town on Wikipedia. But I've never been there, so perhaps I'm being unkind. Oxfordshire is not a footballing hotbed by any means, so it's probably no surprise that Oxford United are the only game in town, and everyone else is fighting for scraps. One of those clubs is Didcot Town, who made the first round of the FA Cup in 2015, where they faced Exeter City. In an astonishing act of giant killing, the plucky outsiders beat their much bigger opponents 3-0, and Exeter eventually went out to Liverpool in the third round. Automatic promotion to the 7th tier is only awarded to the champions, and leading the table are Frome Town and Portishead, whose first album was amazing. I'm sure that's a joke that people from Portishead never get tired of. Winchester City are currently in 3rd, comfortably inside the playoffs. Didcot Town are down in 15th. 4 teams go down from here, but with Bashley, Tavistock and Brixham looking absolutely hopeless, there's little for Didcot to fear. As the teams emerge, let's go through the lineups. 2 changes for Winchester City today from the team that beat Bashley just after Christmas. Daniel Wolster and Bradley Waters come in for Jahim Dotsi, who drops to the bench, and Luke King, who I think is suspended. Top scorers this season are Tom Wright, not the theologian, and Oliver Balmer, who starts on the bench. On the basis that you don't change a winning team, Didcot go with the exact starting lineup that beat Swindon Supermarine last week. The only change is on the bench, where Lewis Mills is replaced by John Paul Nui-Semo. Owen James is their top scorer with 9 goals. And with temperatures beginning to plummet and the sun bouncing off the metal pole and straight into my eyes, the game begins. Didcot are a much improved side to the one that lost 6-0 to Portishead and 7-3 to Bishop's Cleeve at the start of the season, but their attacking threat still leaves a lot to be desired. Winchester are perfectly happy to sit back and wait for a counter-attack, but with the sun in their eyes, their attacks don't carry much promise either. The game quickly falls into a rather dull pattern. The ball spends much of its time in the middle third, with neither side able to create any clear-cut chances. Didcot are far too slow, and Winchester are blinded by the devilish sun, which by now is hanging so menacingly in the sky we're all having trouble seeing the Didcot half of the pitch. Some poor defending from Winchester gives Didcot the first real shot on target. But Winchester are growing in confidence. On 38 minutes, they win a corner, and Thomas Bragg gets a header in. With half-time approaching, number 3 Brown races down the left-hand side, and with no tempting passes available, he tries an audacious lob. Half-time comes, the temperature drops below freezing, and the announcer informs us of a sale on hats, gloves and hot drinks. They're not daft round here. The second half begins, and with the sun finally relenting, Didcot have to take their chances. But with shooting like this, that doesn't look likely. This hasn't been the spiciest game so far, but on 76 minutes things start getting tetchy.
Red card him, Red!
After a minute or so of light fisticuffs, the referee decides that Didcot's Jensen Wright was getting a little too handy for his own good. And out comes the red card. Down to 10 men, chasing the lead, and with a chronic lack of firepower, it's all but over for Didcot. And just a few minutes later, Matt Neal puts the final nail in the coffin.
Goal for Winchester City scored by number 8, Matt Neal!
With the game gone, all Didcot can do now is keep the score down. Their keeper getting clattered won't help. A few seconds later and he's booked for dissent. Not his day, it seems. And deep into injury time, Bedwell's day is about to get even worse. A good pass sends a Winchester player through on goal. And it's a red card. Given that there are seconds remaining and there was a covering defender, it could be perceived as harsh. But a challenge like that is at least a yellow, and the keeper already had one of those, so he had to leave the field. Winchester waste their final attack and the referee blows for full time, to the relief of a freezing 454 fans. Winchester City stay in third and looking very good for at least a playoff place. Didcot go down to 17th, and while they don't look like relegation fodder, they do need to pull their socks up. And with the Winchester City players being triumphantly applauded off the pitch and my hands feeling like they're about to fall off, I bid you goodbye. Thank you for watching.